The diner buzzed with morning chatter, silverware clinking against porcelain, but all sounds seemed to fade when she walked by. The young black waitress moved carefully between tables, her uniform crisp, her smile fragile. Yet whispers followed her, eyes tracing the faint scars that crawled down her arms like silent stories no one dared to ask about. Some customers stared, others snickered. One man even muttered something cruel under his breath. But in the corner booth, a grizzled veteran froze mid-sip of coffee. His eyes widened, not in disgust, but recognition, because among those scars barely visible beneath the waitress's sleeve was a tattoo he'd seen before, one that belonged only to members of a secretive military unit long forgotten by most. The morning rush at Harper's Diner was routine, regulars gossiping over coffee, truckers trading stories, the smell of frying bacon weaving through the air. To most it was just another small-town stop along the highway. But to Maya, every shift felt like walking through a minefield of stares and whispers. She'd learned to keep her head down, to let the murmurs pass through her like wind. The scars that marked her arms had become both her shield and her sentence, remnants of a past she never discussed. She'd been working here for only 6 months, and in that time she'd learned 2 things people rarely saw beyond skin, and curiosity often turned cruel. The younger waitresses avoided her, afraid of the gossip that followed. Some customers tipped out of pity, others left nothing at all. Still, Maya moved with quiet strength, every motion deliberate, every smile practiced but sincere. In the corner, the veteran, an older man with a weathered face and haunted eyes, watched her work. He'd come to the diner every Tuesday, always alone, always silent. But today something was different. When Maya passed his table, the sleeve of her uniform lifted just slightly, revealing the faded ink etched near her wrist. His breath caught. The pattern, the small insignia shaped like a falcon, was unmistakable. It wasn't a symbol you found in a tattoo shop. It was the unit mark of a rescue division that operated in secret during overseas conflicts, one known for dangerous missions and impossible recoveries. And this waitress, this quiet woman being mocked by strangers, somehow carried that symbol. The veteran set his cup down, his hands trembling. For the first time in years his heart raced not from memory but from disbelief. The days stretched on, and the diner's chatter grew louder, but the veteran's mind was far away, pulled backward through time and dust and memory. He could still smell the burning sand, still hear the thunder of helicopters slicing through desert air. That falcon tattoo wasn't just a mark. It was an oath, one made only by soldiers who had survived a mission so classified most of their names were wiped from the record. He remembered the Falcon Unit, a group forged in the chaos of war. They were trained to recover the lost, to rescue civilians and medics trapped behind enemy lines. And among them had been one woman, the youngest of the team, sharp and fearless. Her call sign had been Angel, though no one knew her real name. She had saved lives in the most impossible situations, sometimes at the cost of her own safety. But Angel was declared dead after the Kandahar blast, a mission that went horribly wrong. The veteran, Sergeant Holt, had been airlifted out with shrapnel in his leg, while others never made it home. He had mourned her like the rest of the unit. Yet here she was, or someone carrying her mark, serving coffee in a roadside diner, half hidden behind scars. Meanwhile, the cruelty of the patrons only grew bolder. A group of young men at the counter snickered every time Maya passed, whispering jokes about her appearance. "Should have covered those up," one muttered. Another laughed when she dropped a plate, shards scattering across the floor. Maya didn't flinch. She just cleaned the mess, her silence thicker than the tension in the air. But Holt couldn't sit still. He felt the old soldier's instinct clawing its way up from his chest, that urge to stand between cruelty and the undeserving. His knuckles whitened around his coffee mug as he watched her move through the storm of ridicule. As she leaned down to pick up a fallen fork, her sleeve slipped again. The tattoo caught the light, faint, weathered, but real. Holt's vision blurred for a moment as memories crashed over him, the sound of her voice calling for evac, the flash of explosions, the way she'd shielded 2 civilians with her own body. He could almost hear her yelling above the chaos, "We leave no one behind." It couldn't be coincidence. That tattoo, those scars, they matched the mission report. She had been hit by shrapnel shielding others. The explosion, the fire, the loss of contact, everyone thought she was gone. Yet now she was here, alive, scarred, and silently enduring a different kind of battle. A wave of guilt hit him. How many times had he walked past people like her, veterans, survivors, invisible beneath their wounds? How many had he ignored because their pain made others uncomfortable? As laughter echoed again from the counter, Holt's chair scraped against the floor. Heads turned. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The quiet authority of a soldier who'd seen too much filled the space like thunder before a storm. The mockers fell silent, unsure why. He turned his gaze back to Maya, the woman once called Angel, and realized that this diner, these scars, this silence were her new battlefield, and he wasn't about to let her fight it alone. The diner fell into stunned silence as Holt stood. Every eye followed him as he limped toward Maya, his voice calm but firm. He pointed to the faint falcon tattoo on her arm, his words trembling. "You saved my life," he said softly, all breaking through years of guilt. Gas rippled through the room. The same scars people mocked had once been medals of courage, faces that moments ago sneered now flushed with shame. Maya froze, not out of fear, but relief. Someone had finally seen her. And in that instant the whisper stopped, replaced by the heavy, undeniable weight of truth. Words spread through the diner like wildfire. The laughter that once echoed turned to uneasy silence. The young men who'd mocked her couldn't meet her eyes. Holt, standing tall despite his limp, placed his trembling hand over his heart, a silent salute. For a long moment no one moved. Then Maya smiled, not the practice smile she wore for customers, but a fragile, genuine one, the kind born from finally being recognized for who she was, not what she looked like. As Holt left, he paused at the door. "Heroes don't always wear uniforms," he said quietly. The bell chimed behind him, leaving the room in reflection. Those who had judged her now sat in shame, reminded that scars are not signs of weakness, they're proof of survival. And somewhere deep inside, Maya finally believed it too.